All right, it's time to go over all the PFF grades from week 6, Packers versus Bengals, where they got a victory to now put them back in first place in the NFC North, 27-18 over the Bengals. And yes, a win is a win, but there still are a lot of unanswered questions with this football team and things to build on, things to fix. But hey, I can't complain that the Packers are now first again in the NFC North after the Lions lost to the Chiefs last night. But nonetheless, we need to break down, go over, react to all the PFF grades on the offense, defense, special teams for the Green Bay Packers here in week 6. If this sort of thing does interest you, or you simply want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this season, I'd highly suggest going down and hitting the subscribe button. Really appreciate everyone who has subscribed, left a comment, a like. Thank you guys so much for all the support. If you hit subscribe, you'll have everything you need Green Bay Packers all in one spot. Before we dive in, quickly wanted to go over my sleeper picks for the 2 games we have tonight. My picks yesterday in the Packers game, I was 1 off, very, very close. If you want to go check out Sleeper, use code BASS for a first-time deposit. You'll get that matched 100%. Up to $100. And they're also running an awesome promo right now. You get a free $20 play. If you're a new user, no deposit needed. So if you're on the fence and you want to make some picks for tonight, absolutely free, you can do that. Just click the link down in the description below. For tonight, I have a free pick, Caleb Williams, more than a half a passing yard. I have James Cook, an anytime touchdown. I have Josh Allen, more than 34.5 rushing yards. And I have Rome Odunze, more than 4.5 receptions. Big shout out to Sleeper for being this year's channel sponsor. Definitely go check them out. All right, so without further ado, let's dive down into these PFF grades. We're going to start on the offense and some of the players that I feel like I'll see towards the top. Definitely Matthew Golden, who seemingly had his breakout game, albeit only 3 receptions, but made clutch, big catches in moments of need for this Packers offense. Josh Jacobs, 150 total yards from scrimmage while playing with a stomach bug. And Jordan Love. I think outside of the poor interception, he had a wonderful game. So those are the players I think will be towards the top. And if we load up the grades, pretty much nailed it, except for Zach Tom being slightly above Jordan Love. So we have Matthew Golden at 90.4. Give Matthew Golden more targets. He needs more than 3 receptions per game. He's a guy that can consistently get open. He's a separator downfield, and I talked about it in yesterday's reaction video. I feel the Packers need to stop trying to force the backfield stuff with Matthew Golden. That's why you drafted Savion Williams. Matthew Golden is a downfield threat at wide receiver. We need to use him as such, like we saw in yesterday's game. So really nice to see him here as the top-graded player on offense. Josh Jacobs, this makes a lot of sense. Packers finally found success running up the middle because they were able to block the linebackers, get to the second level up the middle. Jordan Morgan did a wonderful job. Elton Jenkins, I think Aaron Banks had a good game, even though we do see Aaron Banks down here towards the bottom at 55.6. Zach Tom, 75.5. I thought he'd be lower than this. It felt like early he was getting beat by Joseph Asai pretty easily. But then again, as the game went on, I started to not notice it at all. So he definitely started to lock in there and get a little bit of rust, obviously, returning from that oblique injury. Jordan Love, 73.0. He's consistently been a, plus 70 grade, I think most games this year, only one of which a sub 70 grade, and that was against Cleveland, which we can all agree was just a bad offensive performance. Romeo Dobbs, 72.1. Sean Ryan only played in 12 snaps. So they did rotate, I believe, Ryan in the second drive. And then it was Jordan Morgan from then on out, I believe. It might have been the second and then fourth drive. I don't really know, but Jordan Morgan got hot. He was on a hot streak, and the Packers kept him in. He looked really good at right guard, and it's honestly, in my opinion, why the Packers found a lot of success up the middle running the football. Even though he was graded lower, he played in a lot more snaps than Sean Ryan. We see Sean Ryan with a better pass blocking grade, but Jordan Morgan with that better run blocking grade. Rasheed Walker at left tackle, 68.6. Elton Jenkins at center with a really good pass blocking grade of 85.4. Chris Brooks played in 5 snaps. Tay Wicks did leave with an ankle injury, didn't return, had a 64.8. Ben Sims, only 1 snap here. Tucker Kraft, a sub-average grade here with 59.0. I think he had 3 catches or 2 or 3 catches, which I thought they would target him more, utilize him more against the Bengals, who can't cover tight ends well. Emmanuel Wilson, 57.6. Luke Musgrave saw 21 snaps, 57.4. Aaron Banks at left guard is our lowest graded lineman, 55.6. Malik Heath with 28 snaps. Saw a lot of Malik Heath yesterday. I think the Packers simply just wanted the receivers out there that could run block, and they wanted to really establish the run in this game, and they definitely did. Savion Williams with 7 snaps at 53.6. John Fitzpatrick, 11 snaps, 51.7. And Bo Melton had 1 snap. I think it was a run for 3 yards, but somehow that netted him a 47.8. Now to quickly look at blocking and pressures allowed. So they don't tie the Jordan Love sack to any offensive lineman. They simply believe Jordan Love held the ball too long there. But Rasheed Walker allowed 2 pressures. Jordan Morgan, Zach Tom, and Aaron Banks a pressure each there. I mean, only 5 pressures allowed is really good from this offensive line. Now, given the Bengals really didn't bring much pressure and they didn't have Trey Hendrickson the whole second half, and that's going to really affect your defensive line big time. So that's why the Packers, I think, found a lot of success pass blocking in the second half, but nonetheless, a solid performance by this offensive line that finally, got through a whole game healthy, it seems. So now let's go over the defensive grades. Some players I think will be at the top. I think Micah Parsons, I believe he led the team in pressures when I was looking at it last night. I think Javon Bullard will be near the top. I really liked what I saw from him, and I think he's been on fire this year, flying around the line of scrimmage, helping against the run. Unfortunately, he did leave with a concussion, so that's something to monitor going into next week. I think Edgerrin Cooper made a few plays as well. I saw him flying around on defense. So bringing up the defensive grades, we actually have Warren Brinson as the top graded player for the Green Bay Packers defense with an 84.8. This is really, really good to see. Warren Brinson got his NFL debut in this game after being a healthy scratch the first, 4 games. And a lot of people were wondering why he hasn't got any play time. He comes right in here and plays 3-tech in the absence of Devontae Wyatt and puts out a great performance seemingly. 2 pressures, 2 hurries. And an 84.8 defensive grade, an 80.6 pass rush grade. If Warren Brinson turns into something, obviously Devontae Wyatt is our starter at 3-tech, but he might be out for a few weeks. And if Warren Brinson can fill that hole, and give performance and production like this, that's going to be huge for this defensive line moving forward, especially also just to have a guy like that in your rotation of defensive linemen. Micah Parsons had 4 pressures, 4 hurries, 2 tackles, and 2 stops. Would have liked to see him get a sack in this game, but with Joe Flacco navigating the pressure really well and simply getting the ball out of his hands in like 1 second every single play, it's hard to get, sacks on quarterbacks like that. We saw it, when he was the Cleveland quarterback as well. Evan Williams, the 3rd highest graded player here, 76.4, and we'll go over coverages here right after this. Edgerrin Cooper near the top, 73.6. He had 6 tackles with 0 missed, 4 stops. Really nice to see 4 stops there. Colby Wooden at nose tackle played a whopping 32 snaps and had a really nice grade, a 73.2, with a good run defense grade, 76.0. He has been impressive at that nose tackle spot for a guy that came into the league mainly as a defensive end, like an undersized defensive tackle. So really impressive to see him take on that 0-tech role full on. Javon Bullard near the top, number 6, 71.8. Coverage, nice to see that near 70. But also run defense and tackling, man. That's where he's been at his best. Around the line of scrimmage, if there's a bubble screen or any other type of screen or run to the outside, a lot of the time you will see Javon Bullard impacting that play. He had 5 tackles and a stop and 0 missed tackles. Really nice game, and I'm really hoping that concussion is nothing too severe for him. Isaiah McDuffie played in 6 snaps. Lucas Van Ness had 3 pressures and got his first sack of the season. He did leave with a foot injury. Matt LaFleur said he will be getting an MRI on that today. He doesn't believe anything's broken, that it was just sore, so hopefully that isn't the case because Lucas Van Ness has been having, a nice season. Carrington Valentine is the highest graded corner, only played in 19 snaps, but had a 69.7. Rashawn Gary ended the day with 4 pressures, 2 hits, and 2 hurries, and a 68.8. Xavier McKinney, again, kind of, slightly above average grade, but hasn't really had that X game that we're used to seeing from last season, right? Like if you look at last season, he had an 84.7 grade and was one of the highest, I believe, if not the highest coverage grades of all safeties in the NFL, and we just really haven't seen that this year. Now, the ball hasn't been thrown his way too much. It's really been, outside attacking some of these cornerbacks, but we still haven't seen that real splash play by Xavier McKinney yet this season. Barron Sorrell played in 13 snaps, and the snaps that I saw when he was out there, he did impress me, and he had a pressure, and if Lucas Van Ness is out for any amount of time, we'll see a lot more Barron Sorrell moving forward. Nate Hobbs, the 2nd highest cornerback on this list, outside corner, with a 58.1. Quay Walker, 58.0. Keyshawn Nixon, a below average grade, 55.7. Again, we'll look at coverages here in a second. Carl Brooks, a 50.6, but did have 2 pressures. Nazir Stackhouse only played in 5 snaps, so a lot less Nazir Stackhouse in this game. And then JJ Enigbare, 16 snaps, the lowest graded player on this team, didn't record a stat outside of 1 tackle and 1 missed tackle. All right, so let's go over coverages. So Keyshawn Nixon didn't have a great grade on this game, 58.0. He allowed 5 receptions on 9 targets for 45 yards and had a pass breakup. So not terrible. Allowing little over 50% completion rate isn't bad. 45 yards. Now, if it's Joe Burrow, obviously I think this would be a lot higher of a number with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And the touchdown to Jamar Chase, I don't even fault Keyshawn Nixon for that. It was man coverage. It was good coverage, and Jamar Chase just made a ridiculous catch. Edgerrin Cooper allowed 6 catches on 9 targets for 43 yards. Quay Walker allowed 6 catches on 7 targets for 51 yards. Still a little bit of an issue. Middle of the field, running backs after play action, sneaking through the offensive line and being wide open right in the middle of the field. The linebackers are getting their depth in their zones, and that's great, but they got to realize that there's a wide open running back right in front of them. I feel like that's been happening a lot with both Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker, and it's something this defense needs to clean up. Nate Hobbs, 4 catches allowed on 5 targets for 31 yards. Carrington Valentine only allowed 2 receptions on 3 targets for 7 yards. So really nice day from him there. Only a 3.5 average. Javon Bullard, the time he was in the game, 2 catches on 2 targets for 18 yards. And Evan Williams, 2 catches on 2 targets for 9 yards. And Xavier McKinney only allowed 1 catch on 1 target to T. Higgins for 13 yards. Then to dive in some of the special teams grades, we see Katan Oladapo at the top graded player with Ben Sims, Evan Williams in terms of special teams tackles. Tyron Hopper, Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney, and Zane Anderson all had tackles on special teams. And if you wanted to look at the offensive grades for the Bengals, Joe Flacco actually played a solid game in terms of PFF grades, 77.8. So did Jamar Chase. Dalton Reisner filled in at left guard for Dylan Fairchild, who's a rookie who's playing very poorly, and Reisner was a lot better than him. Likely will be the starter going forward just due to this game. Some of the guys at the bottom, right guard Jalen Rivers had an awful performance. Andre Yosevas, I think he had like 3 drops in this game. Amarius Mims, the right tackle, very poor grade. And if you go and look at defense for the Bengals, DJ Turner, I figured he'd be up here. He had a really good game. He was pretty much locked down in coverage. It seemed like anytime he was in man coverage, he was making a play on the ball. So I definitely see why he's up here with a 91.5. Also, Geno Stone did get the tipped interception from Jordan Love. Some of the guys near the bottom, Jordan Battle, safety, Barrett Carter at linebacker, Miles Murphy, and even TJ Slayton, former Packer, with a 45.8. So that does it for all the PFF grades. Week 6, Packers versus Bengals. Again, it was a little bit of a sloppy win, but a win is a win. There are still some things to clean up, but it's not about how you play football in October. It's about how you play football in December, January, and then hopefully February as well. The Packers head to Arizona here in Week 7 to probably take on the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals, and I just hope they play him a little bit more aggressive than they did Joe Flacco. Also, guys, this past week, I put out a lot of new Packers-related merch, some really cool designs I had made for you guys, including, like this Bane Gary comic book design is really, really cool. We have much more designs coming, such as an Edgerrin Cooper design. Here we have the Luke Ness Monster. Of course, if you want to thank Jerry Jones, you could do that with this long sleeve tee or short sleeve or hoodie. Thank you, Jerry. And then, of course, we have Micah Parsons on the back there. So if you guys want to check this out, the link is down in the description. Buying from the merch store really supports the channel, and you get some really cool Packers related merch. So that about does it for this video. I really appreciate you guys coming by. If you could leave a like down below, it helps support the channel a ton. I'll catch y'all tomorrow for the live film review. About middle afternoon, 12:30 Eastern, around that time will be the film review live of this game. So really appreciate you guys coming by. I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go